This is Sports Federation TV. If you've just joined in, you've missed 2 segments already where we spoke about softball. We're now moving on to something slightly different, which may include softball at some point. Steyn, you well?
You're very well, thank you. Thank you so much for having us here.
Good. Herman, are you well?
Very well, thank you, Elton. It's good to be here. Thank you for inviting us.
You're most welcome. These 2 gentlemen in their beautiful South African tracksuits have just come back from the World Transplant Games. And are you wondering what these Transplant Games all about? Steyn, tell us a bit about what all of that entails, because a lot of people have never heard of this.
You're right, and some people say transport games, but it's actually transplant. And it's really an Olympic type event over a week, every 2 years, for people who had organ transplants, solid organ transplants, which would be lungs, kidneys, heart, liver, and also bone marrow.
So those are the different categories.
Yes. Well, it's not categories.
No, that's the entry criteria to be part of this.
Exactly.
Okay. Then how do you become classified to participate in a CODA sport? Herman.
Yes, Elton, we have 2 classes of membership. We have full members. Those are members who have had a life-saving organ transplant, which is heart, liver, lungs, kidney, and also bone marrow. Then we also have associate members, which are anybody else who's interested in transplant sport, family, friends, other people, medical professionals who are interested in our sport. But only the full members can compete at firstly the National Transplant Games every 2nd year, where the athletes can qualify to go to the World Transplant Games in the alternate year.
Okay. So what are the codes of sport that are practiced within your discipline?
It's 13.
13.
13 different codes. Track and field obviously being the biggest, but then you have swimming, which is also quite big for South Africa, cycling, golf, petanque or boule as it's also known, and then you have table tennis, badminton, did I leave anything else? Squash.
10-pin bowling. Tell us
10-pin bowling as well.
Is that
Absolutely.
Hey?
And you know what? In many of these sports, we don't even come close. We don't get a sniff.
Yeah.
Because there are countries that are just excellent at some of these sports.
Especially the table tennis and the 10-pin bowling.
We'll explore that in a bit.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at the footage of the Transplant Games. Let's check it out.
All around the world, there are thousands of people alive today, unified by a common bond. Some owe their lives to living donors who are family members or friends. Others owe their lives to the generosity of perfect strangers, organ and tissue donors driven by the desire to give life to others after their death. The need for an urgent or life-saving transplant knows no boundaries. It affects people regardless of their gender, age, religion, or ethnicity. Our federation promotes ethical organ donation and transplantation and supports living and deceased organ donation for transplantation by consenting persons and their families. Established in 1987, the World Transplant Games Federation is a worldwide organization with representation from more than 60 countries that celebrates successful transplantation and the gift of life through unique and inspiring events, namely the Summer and Winter World Transplant Games. Our principal aim is to raise public awareness of the importance and benefits of organ donation by demonstrating the health and fitness that can be achieved post-transplant. We aim to educate the public on the principles of organ donation and to highlight the worldwide shortage of donor organs. We are recognised by the International Olympic Committee and actively promote the benefits of sport at all levels and fair play for transplant recipients. A hosting country is carefully selected for each Games, and their local organising committee works closely with the Federation to ensure a successful Games. Since their establishment by UK transplant surgeon Maurice Slapak in 1978, the World Transplant Games have become the largest global event for transplant recipients and their families. The Summer Games are held every 2 years. The event showcases the success of organ donation and transplantation through a wide variety of sports. The Winter Games are held in the intervening years and include the Nicholas Cup, a special event for transplant recipient children aged from 4 to 17 years old. At the World Transplant Games, whilst competition is intense, everybody is a winner, whether they are first or last across the finish line. Every athlete has a unique story. Our athletes are our ambassadors for organ donation and transplantation and give hope to people on transplant waiting lists. The World Transplant Games give recipients the motivation to strive towards full rehabilitation through exercise, camaraderie and healthy living. They also provide them with a way of saying thank you to those who made it all possible: the donors, their families, health professionals, researchers and carers. Without them, there would be nobody on the starting line. Welcome to the World Transplant Games Federation, powered by the gift of life.
What a touching clip about what Transplant Games is all about. Let's take an ad break, we'll be right back.
At Belleville Glass, we specialize in putting the needs of our customers first. With auto glass, flat glass and aluminium installations, our quality control process ensures you always end with the best possible result. We offer a 12-month guarantee on all workmanship and a 5-year guarantee on all tint and smash and grab film. Our team of Belleville Glass technicians are here to look after your daily glass requirements. Call us on 021 946 1535.
Welcome back to Sports Federation TV. We exploring transplant sport. One of the federations who are a member of the Western Province Sports Council. And as you know, the show is about who, what and where makes sport happen within Cape Town. Stan, you've just come back from the World Transplant Games and we've watched an inspiring clip as to what the sport, what the discipline and code of Transplant Games is all about. Tell us a bit about this games that you participated in. Where was it held?
This was the 20th World Transplant Games. It was held in a place called Mar del Plata in Argentina, and 44 countries participated.
Wow.
Happy to say that South Africa has become one of the leading countries in terms of not just participation but also competitiveness, and we ended up third overall out of 44 countries.
Well done.
Yeah.
Herman, in the contingent that went, what was the youngest person that traveled with you? Because I mean, this is a small component of sport in South Africa. Number one. Number two, it's an exclusive code of sport. Not just anybody can be a member. Like Stan alluded to, you need to have received a life-threatening transplant. So, at what age do people start participating in your sport?
We have from 7 to up to 18, which are the juniors.
Yep.
From 18 to 29, and then ages from 30 to 39. But the juniors are from the age of 6 to 18. Our youngest player, our youngest participant at the last games was 14. She was 14. We would have liked to have had more of the junior participants going to the World Transplant Games, but as you know, funding is also a big problem.
Yep.
The games was held in Argentina. It made it a very, very expensive exercise. We don't get that much funding. We do get funded by the for the Western Cape athletes, we do get funding from the Department of Cultural Affairs and Sport. And on a national basis, we get some funding from the Department of Sport. but not enough so that we can really take the juniors, because our juniors have to be accompanied by a senior, like a mother or father or somebody relative, and which makes it very expensive. But the youngest that we had was a girl 14 years old. She broke a world record in athletics in long jump, and she also had a gold medal in swimming.
Wow.
Yeah,
100 meters.
100 meters.
So Steyn, explain this to me. So this 14-year-old young lady participated amongst how many other participants in the same age category, or is it in a bracket? How does it work?
It's in the same age category. Now, granted that there aren't many participants at that age level, and so you probably would have 3 categories, age categories per competing, but you compete, or the medals are awarded according to age category.
Okay.
And so she is 14, and probably has 2 or 3 other age categories with her.
Okay. And then they compete because it's so small. They all compete, as an example, all in one event
Yes.
at the same time
Yes,
in
yes.
different categories.
That's right. That's right. With the seniors, it's a totally different story. You know, I mean, it's often oversubscribed, so you have a number of heats and so
Yeah.
forth. But it's always a problem with the juniors.
Here's an interesting here's an interesting question. A lot of people have a problem, and Herman, you and I have debated this thing at length before we've come into the show.
Yeah.
When you drug-free sport, Stan, you're laughing because you know I'm going to ask this question. Are there banned substances within your sport?
No, we get exemption from the from the International Olympic Committee. But if somebody in transplant sport wants to compete in normal sport, they can get an exemption certificate from the Drug-Free Sport Association. So yes, the medication that we take steroids daily, on a daily basis. So if you are competing in normal sport and you're going to, and you at such a level that you're in contention for a South African record or a world record, then you'll have to have a certificate issued by the Drug-Free Sport. But yes, we take medication every day.
Take performance enhancing
Yeah,
drugs
and
all the
it's-
time.
And you need that just to live, not to compete.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think
Absolutely.
that's the misperception
Yeah.
that people also
Yeah.
have, is that you're taking that, you're taking anabolic steroids in a normal case
Yeah.
to increase your performance.
Yeah.
When in your case, you're using it to
To
sustain
live.
your lifestyle
Yes, that's right.
and to
Yeah.
be healthy.
Yeah.
That's right. Yes.
Let's look at the medals table and see just some of the results over the last few years. Stan, take us through briefly some of the results there.
So as you can see, the first games on this chart is in Manchester, England, and we had 26 athletes, 32 medals. Compare that with 2015, 46 athletes and 89 medals, of which 41 was gold.
Awesome.
You know, we were hoping to come back with 50 medals, and we really surprised ourselves. The nice thing about the sport is that there are always new people coming through.
Yep.
And they're an unknown quantity. And I always say to them, you were unknown, but with the next games you're not unknown, because now you're the target. But it's an amazing opportunity just to show our gratitude
Absolutely.
for being alive.
And you've touched on an interesting point. You talk about new people coming. How do you find these new people? Is it based on medical records, or how does it work?
Look, we try and market ourselves fairly widely within the transplant fraternity. So hospitals, you know, we know where the transplants happen, and so we make sure that we have posters and information, and we work closely with transplant doctors and so forth. And generally, we go to support group meetings, and so we make sure that as many people as possible know about it. And at the moment, we feel that there's still a lot to do, but we're gaining ground. We've grown tremendously over the last number of years.
Do you have some idea of the magnitude of transplant recipients in the country? Any idea?
Look, at any given stage, there are about 4,300 people on the waiting list. But
Sure.
there are so few donors in South Africa, which is a big problem. We only have 1.7 donors per million population.
Really?
So they only do about 600 transplants a year, but that includes now cornea and skin things like that, and they don't qualify to become a member, a full member of the Transplant Sports Association.
Because it's not
because it's not a
life-threatening.
life-saving.
And that's the technicality.
So
Yeah.
of the 500 transplants, only about 20-30% can qualify to become full members. So as you can see, there are very few coming in South Africa because of the number of transplants.
Because the challenge is that many of these people have been sick for so long and their bodies are so weak that even thinking of getting involved in sport is not even a consideration.
For sure,
Yeah.
for sure. But also the fact that there are also cultural issues relating to people being organ donors, you know. A lot of cultures believe that their body must be pure and cleansed and everything when they get buried, cremated, however their bodies are taken to the next life, for want of a better understanding.
That's
Gentlemen,
right.
in closing, how do people get hold of you if they need more information? Or
Can I give you our website?
Yes, please do.
It's www.transplantsports.org.za. Transplantsports.org.za.
awesome. Stan, I know you're on Facebook, very active on Facebook.
Very active on Facebook, and but I also can be contacted by email. It's chairman@transplantsports.org.za.
Gentlemen, thank you for your time. We look forward to seeing more results and also more recipients and more people participating in sport.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you very much.